Standing at Cheval Stud just outside Te Awamutu, El Hermano has made breeders stand up and take notice in recent months with the racetrack performances of his progeny. Frank Drummond shares his sire's unique story with Kiwi Bred. It was thought that perhaps he would live in the shadows of his Cox Plate winning brother El Segundo, but El Hermano has created a story of his own. Bought at the Sydney Easter yearling sale for $500,000, breeder Philip Brown remained in the syndicate, hoping they had another El Segundo on their hands, but misfortune struck and El Hermano never got the chance to prove himself on the racetrack. Now retired to Frank and Faye Drummond's Cheval Stud, the son of Pins is forging his own path as a sire.
Unfortunately, this bloke hurt himself when he was broken in and ended up with a very serious foot injury. Nearly cost him his life and nearly cost Philip his bank balance, he tells me. But they saved him. He's only got half a petal bone in that front foot you observed before, that's all deformed. But it doesn't stop him from doing this part. And but consequently, of course, his brother then went and won the Cox Plate, and he became quite valuable with his as an entire. So that's why they brought him back here. And yeah, we did the Z-type operation the first year and put him out at a $500 booking fee. Got 114 mares. So that part worked, and then we've gradually brought him up to 4,000 years this year. He's such a personable animal, and yeah, we brought him here, and Philip said to me, "You'll have fun with this horse," and I tell you what, he's right. We're having a lot of fun.
Drummond decided against the traditional advertising path with El Hermano and decided to let his progeny do the talking. He currently has 6 horses in training. One of those is a recent Group 1 placed El Pescado.
In behind them running on El Vigara, then came El Pescado in the battle time. Cowie ranged up, took the lead at the 100 metres from Longchamp. El Pescado's arriving late, but Cowie, oh, he's a superstar. He wins another McPhee. Cowie, too good. He blew them off the racetrack. Second over photos, El Pescado. Farm Boy flew late.
Providing the trifecta behind Cowie and El Pescado was Farm Boy, a former Group 2 Avondale Cup winner. But it's not only his sons making their mark. Talented mare Under the Moonlight is also a stakes performer.
As you know, this year we've had a real good time with El Pescado, and he's paying for the others quite nicely. And 2 or 3 of the others are going real well too.
Frank, is anything typical about El Hermano's progeny?
Temperament. Amazing temperament. The little foals come into the vet bale here with their mothers, and I always hop in with the foals, and the old Hermanos come up to you and want to know what you want. We get lots of foals by lots of different stallions born on the stud, and if I hop in there and something flips over or goes silly and gets frightened and all the rest of it, the vet just leans over and says, "That's not an El Hermano," and he's dead right every time. Lovely. The best thing about them as racehorses, besides the ability to run, is that you can take them anywhere, they'll eat anywhere, they'll sleep anywhere, they'll drink everything. You wouldn't believe El Pescado, you know, 3 Group 1s down there, and the night after the liver mole, he ate his feed, he ate all his hay, all his grass, drank all his water, and was coming over the door next morning. Great, makes it easy.
A full brother to Group 1 Cox Plate winner El Segundo, El Hermano is out of Palos Verde, a 10-win Oak Ridge mare who Drummond believes is having an influence on the type of horse he is producing.
They're taking a bit of time, they're not going early. They're going over a bit of ground, most of them. Most of them don't mind a bit of cutting the track, although there are a fair few too that like a good track. And just very versatile horses. Mark's schooled a couple of them and they jump like stags, so I hope some of them will still be going around when they're 12.
I guess the other thing is he's now getting Group winners and Group 1 performers. How much of a thrill has that been for you?
Oh, amazing, yeah.
Could you have expected that from him when you first put him to stud?
Oh, you're always optimistic. And Mark Brooks, who had El Pescado initially, said to me right the word go, he said, "You've got a Group 1 horse here."
For you, obviously, you get a little bit of emotion about talking to him. It must be quite a ride.
Amazing. Amazing.
The emotion is evident, and although the path hasn't always been an easy one, Drummond's faith in El Hermano's ability to upgrade his mares has been proven in the racetrack results of his progeny.
It's still tough, but yeah, certainly, like, we ran second in the McPhee, as you know, and I think by the time I got home that weekend I had 7 bookings. Yeah, so you have to say that works.
You've had like a decent horse through most of the crops, though, haven't you?
Yeah. And it's just now I think people are starting to value them a bit better too. You know, when you put them out at $500, they get treated as a cheap commodity. And but you know, now that he's showing he can leave a class horse, he's actually 4th on the stallion list right now. Yeah, better trainers and people are getting more serious about them, and it's certainly reflecting in his results now.
With that better class of mare and people racing them, it must get you a little bit optimistic for his future.
Oh, too right, yeah. You just got to not be in a hurry in this with him, so we just have to be patient. I don't think it works out any dearer doing that, actually. You can rear them more naturally without pumping them up, and they all seem to end up a decent size, always bigger than their mothers. So yeah, more of your traditional Kiwi horse, I think.
Yes, the old Hermano is making a name for himself with breeders here in New Zealand. It's time now for this week's Pedigree of the Week, and it's the Group 1 Queen of the Turf Stakes winner, Azkadellia.
Sweet as. Well, sweet as Azkadellia anyway. That was the reaction from New Plymouth breeder Craig Linton as his former Bonnie Shinko King filly foal fulfilled her destiny as a Group 1 winner of the Queen of the Turf Stakes in Sydney. Azkadellia had gone frustratingly close in the past, having rushed home for 3rd in a Group 1 Maya Classic at Flemington, pushed peeping when 2nd in the Group 1 Coolmore Classic, and then finished 3rd to champion mare Winx in the Group 1 Doncaster. But in the Randwick Mares feature, Azkadellia made no mistake, sending Linton and his partner Iloni Kelly, the mare's first trainer back in New Zealand, into raptures. He told media soon afterwards she's a little ripper. She always was, right from the time she popped out as a foal. Azkadellia is a daughter of winning Centane mare Raving, who also produced listed Tauranga Classic runner-up Bavarian, and a granddaughter of the Kelly-trained Group 2 Sir Tristram filly's classic-placed Wild Rampage mare Raging. But that's the lot when it comes to black-type performers in her family, and Azkadellia's Group 1 win, her 4 Group 1 placings and Group 3 Mannerism Stakes success easily makes her the prodigal child. Kelly produced Azkadellia for a debut win at Avondale as a 2-year-old, before she was sold to Caulfield trainer Kieran Mars, then racing manager Ben Connolly. Azkadellia is the 6th Group 1 winner for Shinko King and the last of Raving's foals. Linton, Kelly and Ian Clark, who was Raging's owner and an original owner in Azkadellia, are breeding from Alac Barmere Bavarian, who was due to foal to Shocking this spring.
That brings to an end this week's show. Join us next week when we preview the upcoming New Zealand Bloodstock Ready to Run sale. I look forward to your company then.